In our horror opening, we followed certain conventions of horror films in order to show our understanding of our planning and research. The first convention we used was Fade to Blacks, which we found was one of the most common conventions in horror films, for example, Seven, An American Horror Story.
We followed this as it helped keep continuity throughout the whole of our opening and it showed time was passing. When making our titles, we once again referred back to the research. We used white flickering titles on a black background because we didn't want them to be stationary and it kept an eerie atmosphere, which we wanted to achieve. We placed our film title, which maintained the white writing on a black background, at the end of the opening as we found it was typical in horror films.
We researched a lot about costume, makeup and setting as this was a key element in other horror films such as Woman in Black. We chose old-fashioned dresses for the children in The Nightmare and typical bedwear for the main character. This created a contrast between the two scenes where the main character is in bed in the current day and the children are of a different era.
Out of our possible locations, we chose our one as it created the right atmosphere due to the lack of surroundings and it fitting directly with the horror conventions when looking at locations. Our other possible location was a park, which we felt didn't quite fit our storyline and was too commonly used within our class.
Another convention of horror films is the theme of children used as evil characters instead of their stereotypical nature of being sweet and innocent. We follow this in various ways. One being the two young girls we used as actresses. Another being the nursery rhyme, which we gave a slow tempo to keep the eerie atmosphere and to fit to the clips. The laugh we used at the end over the titles was to signify the end of the opening and the start of the film.
We decided to use quick straight cuts when cutting between the nightmare and the reality. We did this so that the nightmare remained a mystery and created an enigma code, another typical convention found in Seven. Lastly, we used dark lighting as people are generally more on edge at this time of day, and the films we researched were set or contained many scenes at night time.
In our film, as well as using conventions, we also developed them from the films we researched. In the film Seven, the straight cuts show various actions made by the character. We developed this by making our straight cuts quicker and shorter. The film also substitutes the letter V for a 7 in the title. We developed this by substituting the letter I for a question mark as we thought this would make the title more intriguing and linked to the content of the film.
Throughout the films which we researched, we found the convention of the fear of the unknown was shown in different ways. We chose to create this in our film by showing as little detail about the nightmare. We did this by using short straight cuts and showing shots that would create question for the audience due to their lack of knowledge.
The last convention we developed was the use of distressed characters. In our film we found this would generally be towards the middle or the end of the film. However, we decided to show this in the opening of the film in order to unsettle the audience, and we wanted the action to be shown so that the rest of the film would be explaining it.
As well as using and developing a convention, we also challenged them. Something we didn't find in other horror films we researched was a dolly shot. We used this in order to establish the first location and to show the isolation of the character as she sleeps. During this section of the opening, we also had narration to keep the attention of the audience and give them an insight to the character's emotions.